Next up, we have Sarah Wordlaw, and she's going to talk about EdTech for assessment for learning. And yeah, she's got a few things lined up. I'm happy to be your glamorous assistant, giving out bits of paper and all that sort of stuff. Is that okay for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Do I have to talk into a microphone?
You do.
Oh, this is a new experience. Hello, everyone. My name's Sarah. Just a little bit about me. I am an assistant head teacher in a primary school in Croydon. I currently lead computing and have led computing for some time. And I'm going to be talking through 3 websites/apps for EdTech for assessment for learning. And assessment for learning is a bit of a bugbear for me. I feel like teachers spend a lot of their time doing a lot of marking and feedback, but not all of it is necessary. And some of it can be done through EdTech. And ultimately, if the children are not making progress through what we're doing, it's irrelevant and a waste of time. So I've got 3 apps and websites to have a talk through. The first one I know was mentioned earlier, Padlet. Just as a show of hands, has anybody used Padlet before? Fabulous. So Padlet is an online mind mapping website which is free. I might have to borrow you for a second. What it allows children to do is to just put their ideas onto a screen. You would have it up on your board. You might do it at the beginning of the lesson or during the plenary. You give them a question and they can write their answers and enter their answers. Now, with their answers up on the board, that then frees you up as a teacher to move around the classroom and to instantly see who's got it, who needs to be pushed a little bit more, and who perhaps needs a little bit more practice. Now, with this also, as a teacher, if you've got your iPad in your hand and you've noticed that somebody has not quite done the right thing, you can comment on their comment, and then you can see that instant progress if they then comment back and they've done it correctly. That, stuck into a child's book, I think is far more powerful than reams and reams and reams and reams of writing. The second website that we're going to have a look at is Kahoot. Just as a show of hands, has anybody used Kahoot before? Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a live demonstration. So we are going to play Kahoot. Now, for those of you that haven't used it before, Kahoot is an online quiz platform. It's free. You can use it. You can make your own quizzes on there, but there are also thousands and thousands of quizzes for free that are on there. Anything from Key Stage 2 maths to phonics to anything. What it's great at is getting an idea from your class as to who's already got what you're learning, getting a kind of a general trend as to where you need to push them on further, or perhaps where you need to stop and give an additional intervention. So if you've got a phone or an iPad or a laptop, if you search Kahoot, and on your screen that you get up, can you put in this game pin, and we'll have a go at practicing it together. So the game pin is at the top of the screen here. So if you enter the game pin, you'll then be prompted to put in a name. And as and when you put in your name will pop up on the screen. Okay, so a question's going to pop up on the screen which has 4 answers. You need to click on the colour on your screen which corresponds with the answer that you are saying. So we'll do 2 questions. So what is this logo? Okay, so as you can see, you'll be able to get a general idea of whether the class have got something. It's perfect to use at the beginning or the end, or at the beginning and the end of the lesson, so that children can see their own progress. It also ranks people on how quick or whether they got the right answer. So congratulations to Ollie. Is that you, Ollie? Brilliant. So that's Kahoot. It's fantastic and it's free. Kids love it. Particularly, I'm a Year 6 teacher and I've got lots of boys who are very, very disengaged in anything except for PE. they love doing this. They love it in maths, they love it in reading. It's really, really powerful. The last app that we're going to have a look at is called Plickers. Has anyone used Plickers before? Fabulous. So, Plickers, again, is an online quiz platform. Being handed out, can I borrow one of them? Is a code card. So the way that it works is you set it up with your free account. Every single child has their own card, which corresponds with their name. You put a question up on the board, and if you notice when you get a card that each side of the square has got a different letter, A, B, C, or D. I'm going to put a question up on the board, and whichever answer you want to answer, A, B, C, or D, you need to move that to the top. So if you wanted to answer C to a question, you need to make sure that you hold your card up so that C is at the top. So we'll have a little live demo. I'm going to put a question up on the board. Bear with me. Do you know when that's not working? Okay. Yeah. I don't know why that's not working, but...
So, it's lost the connection to her questions on here. So I'm just going to try one that I've done previously myself and see if we can just do it on my phone, because that's got connectivity. Yeah. You better see then how it works and what have you. I would like at least one thing, to go wrong, just to prove that it can happen to anybody. What's important is that you persevere, but also know when to stop. So let's just have a quick go with this. Okay, so there you go. So I've chosen the question. Ignore the group. That's obviously incorrect and what have you. But on my device, I can choose scan now. And as I now scan around, if you can pick what you think is the right answer, which of those is the oldest games company, Atari, Sega, Nintendo, or Sony? And as we sort of scan around the room, what have you, so it picks up who's got what right and what wrong, and so forth and so on the cards that you've got in front of you. Something I love about this myself as well, and I don't know if you find this, it's different in secondary because you have to learn about 500 children's names when you're a secondary teacher. When you put your class in onto Plickers, when you hover over their specific card, it tells you their name. So you can go, Charles, well done, finally got it. It's really helpful for that. Don't tell your children that. They're like, how on earth has he learned our name so quickly? Anyway, I'm sorry for jumping in.
Thank you. No, that was the end. So, 3 apps for assessment for learning. That was Padlet, Kahoot, and Plickers. They're all free, and they're really fantastic at identifying those children that need an additional intervention at the beginning or end of a lesson, and also those children that need to be pushed a little bit further. Thank you for listening.
Brilliant. Thank you. Big round of applause for Sarah. Thank you.